And we are live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome. Come on in. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Come on in. We got a lot to discuss today, as we always do. Come on in. Come on in. Let me know where you're coming from when you come in. I'm not seeing the names yet, but they'll be dropping in a second. Let me know where you're coming from. Here we go. Golfar is in. Jennifer Glass is in the building. Demetrius Scott, the Assis, I think that says, is in the building. Lorianne Beasley's in the building. Oh, man, these names are going kind of quick. John Herrick's in the building. D. Walker, Monique Watford, Muriel, Michael Benton, Tina Wyatt, Stephen Johnson. What we got here? Jocelyn Nelson, Angel Long. They're coming kind of quick. There's my wife. Kimberly Broughton Kafele is in the building. Janine Caparano, I'm sorry about that. Wilkins is in the building all the way from Alaska, right? Daniel Osei is in the building. Come on in, come on in, come on in. When you come in, hit that share button as you come in. Let them know it's that time, right? Hit the retweet button, hit the share button, share it to a group you belong to, whatever it is. Let folks know it's that time. We are here. We are on. We are live, right? Rasul writes in the building. Juanita Presley saw her yesterday at the MBK Symposium in New York via Zoom. Otis Kitchen, Principal Kitchen's in the building. Ryan Anthony Bell, Aaron Sims, Rasul Wright, Lafayette Treywick is in the building. Superintendent Finch, Allison Geary, they're in the building. Come on in, come on in. Alicia Mahoney is in the building. We got Ton, and that might be Tone. I'm not sure, but I got you. I see you in the building. Who else we got here? Jay Akua. Brenda Watley Bondurant, Principal Josh Tovar. I missed you this morning. I was in the gym. Haven't been to the gym in over a year, so I had to make my debut. It's a little different being in the gym with the mask on, sweating up a storm, but we'll talk about that later. But who else we have here? Kimberly Wilson Daniel is in the building. Keeps those notes for us. She's a godsend. Thank you, Kimberly Wilson Daniel. Principal Dot McKeever Jeter's in the building. Dominique Price, Doomerville. I know I messed that up. Charlena Hottie, Veta Farrow, Stella Vaughn, Jones, 46 Sherry is in the building. Miss Augustine is in the building. Alicia Jessup is in the building. Nichelle Hunt, Hafiz Melton's in the building. I used to be the principal of his daughter. Tell her I said hello. Shannon Mann is in the building. Edwin Garcia is in the building. And don't worry about it, folks. The building is big. We can fit everybody in here, right? So come on in, come on in. D. Faith is in the building. Assistant Principal D. Faith. Sienna Nichelle is in the building. Mary Collier, Mim Stacy Mabry, Principal Mabry, bringing up the heat from Augusta, Georgia, is in the building. Yolanda McKinney out there in Little Rock, Arkansas. Darren Green in Trenton, New Jersey. Good to see you. Good to see you. He's in the building. Amy Beth, Laquita Coleman, Charlena Hottie are in the building. Come on in, hit the share button. Let them know. Let them know. I'm getting ready to get it started. Let them know we're here. Let me know where you're coming from, as most of you have been doing. And if you've been with us for 53 weeks, man, that's a long time. We're going to talk about that a little while, too, when I get to these announcements. But you know something, y'all? It's 11 o'clock. You know it's that time. I don't stall. So it's 11 o'clock. So let me now say formally, good morning. Greetings. Welcome to week number 53 of the Virtual Assistant Principal Leadership Academy. And I don't know about you, But if I can just speak for me for one moment, I want you to know that how I'm feeling this morning. I'm on fire. That's how I'm feeling. I just want you to know, because I'm big on the energy, man. But I'm not sure you heard me. I'm just not sure you heard me. So and I don't know if my neighbors heard me. So I want to make sure folks know how I feel, right? So once again, I'm on fire. Woo! That's how I'm feeling. But why? Because I'm gonna tell you, with this week in particular, there's a lot of reason that I could say I'm not on fire. But I'm in this leadership capacity right now. You guys tuned in. You came on time. So I'm not in position to say that I'm a little down, right? Even if I was. The fire's got to be raging, because in this capacity, I've got to lead. There are people that check in on a regular basis because they're looking for a message that they can take back to their leadership. So I have to bring the flames, the thunder, the lightning, the fire. But I'm saying to you, because it ain't about me, I'm saying to you that you're in a leadership capacity and things happen, but you still got to bring that fire. You still got to bring that energy. You've still got to bring that excitement, and you still got to bring that enthusiasm, regardless of what's happening around you. You got to bring it. So I start off that way every week. Before I get to let me get to my motivational message real quick. I'm calling it protecting your professional growth and development. Once again, protecting your professional growth and development. And I've been prefacing all these messages with the word protecting over the past several months, and I still got a few more. And I'm saying that you have got to grow in this business. You have got to develop in this business. You have got to learn. You've got to expand in this business. Because you were a superstar 5 years ago, that may not translate into you being a superstar today. Because the world is evolving. The world is expanding. The world is shifting. The world is changing. And if you are functioning on your glories back in 2016, 2015, 2010, and you're not consistent with today's time, today's youngster, today's educator, today's education space, then you are essentially irrelevant. So you've got to make sure that you protect your professional growth, your professional development, and carve out time to engage in it. I don't mean solely reading. I don't mean solely attending a conference, a workshop, an institute, or an academy. I'm also talking about just the discussions with people who have been in your shoes, or people who are in your shoes, but working in a different building. And then here you come together and compare notes, right? So I'm saying, whatever the means of professional growth is, whatever the means of professional learning may be, I'm just saying to you to engage in it. Engage in it. Make sure that between today, May 1, and tomorrow, May 2, you have grown professionally. See, I'm not saying between now and the next 6 weeks. I'm saying grow by the day. That matters, right? My word of the day / word of the week, real quick, consistent with my message: effectiveness. Effectiveness. The goal has to always be that within your leadership capacity, you are going to be effective, right? You've got to be striving for effectiveness. Now, I can take that to a much more significant word and say you must be striving to be phenomenal. You must be striving to be amazing. You must be striving to be extraordinary. But I'm not going to use those words in this context. But it's a given that each and every one of you and me want to operate at that level. But I'm saying for now, you must strive to be effective, meaning that you matter within your leadership, right? Let me just real quick, I want to send positive energy to a friend of mine. Like, I'm deviating for a hot second. I want you to hear me for just a few seconds Want to send positive energy, thoughts, prayers to a friend of mine. His name is Sharif Amenhotep, right? Sharif Amenhotep. He lives up here in Newark, New Jersey, but his daughter and the mother of his daughter were living in Columbia, South Carolina. Well, on April 5th, his 15-year-old freshman daughter, high school, went missing, right? She went missing. And then he and many others, people from throughout the country, were looking for her for 3 weeks. And she turned up this week, murdered, found in woods down in a wooded area down in South Carolina. And I think I forget the name of the county, so I won't say it, but it wasn't in Columbia. So they found her in this area, found her dead. Gunshot wounds, multiple. They arrested three teenagers, 2 boys and a girl. And that's kind of where it is. So those of us up here, and I'm looking at the thread and I see the Newark folks on here that know Sharif. Those of us up here in this area, we're saddened, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. We're broken, right? Because we're talking about a young man who is an activist, right? This is a young man who has devoted, hear me somebody, Sharif Amenhotep, devoted his life to solving violence within the cities, in particular Newark, but beyond Newark for him, right? To eradicating violence within these cities, particularly black to black violence. And then his daughter was a victim of that which he fights against every day, right? So I'm just sending positive energy to him because I can only imagine how he feels losing his 15-year-old daughter, and particularly the way he lost her, right? So positive energy to him, thoughts and prayers to Sharif, to the mother of Shana. Her name is Sana, by the way, Sana Amenhotep. You can go on Google and read all the stories and the videos. Her mother's on the videos, the current ones, but you can Google search them and you'll get all the information. And maybe you may want to send prayers to the family as well. I couldn't start this today without mentioning that. You know, the back of my mind, I said, but I have to, right? Certain things you just have to do, right? So that was one of those things that, and I see my guy here, where's he at? Yeah, there he is, Otto Bakari Chase, another good friend of Sharif, right? There's a few of us on here, I see. So let me keep it moving. Where are we? And I got to get back to where I was. So real quick, I'll do these announcements quickly. Congratulations to all of the folks who are landing these leadership positions, assistant principal, director, supervisor, superintendent. You know, congrats to all of you, right? Keep up the good work. But remember, the real work starts now, right? You were striving to get there. Now you're in leadership. The real work starts now. Those of you who are still interviewing and prospecting and all that kind of stuff, continue success, keep pushing. Don't ever give up. Don't ever quit because the doors are closed. Find another door, right? Because there's a door that's open, but you may need to go to a different location because the one in your location is closed, right? For whatever the reason. But there's a job out there waiting for you. There's a job out there. There's a leadership position with your name on it, right? You just got to go and seek it out. Let's keep going. I've known this for a minute, but I decided I just never shared it with you guys. But let me say you real quick. I got this honor the other day. I got a lot of awards over the years, over 150 over the past 34 years I've been in education. 150, that's a lot. But I got this one the other day, and I just didn't tell. I got it last year, and I didn't tell anybody except my wife. And then I got it again this year. And I said, I guess I'll tell people. It's called the Global Gurus. This organization, they named me as one of the top 30 education professionals in the world. I said, wow, what an honor. You know, where'd you find me? You know, first of all. But yeah, one of the top 30 education professionals in the world. I don't consider myself one of the top 30 education professionals in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but they decided to put me on this list amongst these other 29 great individuals, great educators. Some of them I know. And, you know, it's an honor. So I thought maybe I'll share it with my audience that I got this special award. So I see you guys congratulating me. So I appreciate you. And I'm just a kid from East Orange, New Jersey, who's in Jersey City now, just trying to do his part. My 4th annual School Leadership Institute, July 13 and 14. Just go to principalkafele.com, scroll down to the announcements, and just click the link and join me. It's going to be for 3 hours on the 13th and 14th, 12:30 to 3:30 Eastern time. It's nominal, just a little administrative charge, not that much. So check it out. Won't be the content I use on Saturdays. This will be a little bit different, right? So it's for anybody in leadership, superintendent, board members, assistant principal, whomever it is. Come on in and join me for those 2 days, July 13, 14, right? And am I finished? Yeah, just about. The Assistant Principal 50, if you don't have it, man, you guys are keeping this book in that top 100 on Amazon. I'm so pleased by that. And the Aspiring Principal 50, which is what I'm using today, you keeping that one up there too. And then, we got the Equity and Social Justice Education 50 comes out May 26th. But you guys, man, you guys took that book to #1 new release last week, and then #1 in the I don't know why it's in the administrative category, because it's not an administrative book, but it was #1 last week a few times. And I'm like, man, that's all the folks just, they're supporting their brother from here in Jersey City. So I appreciate you for that. The book's not even coming out till May 26th, but you guys have took it right to #1. So I appreciate you. Keep on supporting it. I want everybody to get that book, The Equity and Social Justice Education 50. Such an important topic for today's times in today's schools. Hit that share button. New York Black Yankees. That's what I'm wearing. New York Black Yankees. They played their home games not only in Yankee Stadium, but they played in a ballpark in Paterson, New Jersey as well, that is currently being renovated, right? So that's what I'm wearing. Someone probably say, he wearing the Yankees today. Nah, this ain't no Yankees, man. Yankees ain't letting no black ball players play for them either for a long time. They didn't integrate when Jackie Robinson started playing for the Dodgers. They stayed white, right? This is the New York Black Yankees, right? Enough said. Let's go. We're in chapter 1 of the Aspiring Principal 50. Hit that share button, hit that retweet. You can tell your friends, say, he's finished with his announcements. Now you can come and tune in. My topic today is ineffective leadership doesn't benefit anyone. Woo! I'm going to say that one again. I'm finished with announcements, y'all. Ineffective leadership doesn't benefit anyone. Man. I'm not even going to go to my content yet. I want to stay on that for a second. Ineffective leadership doesn't benefit anyone. When I put these notes together, I told you I start this on Sundays. So tomorrow I'll be working on the notes for next Saturday. That's how I do it. And then I'm tweaking all week, right? And when I was putting that together and that topic in particular, I thought to myself, I said, I'm going to tell you guys to try this out. When those of you who are back in your schools and when you get back into your schools or when you're online or hybrid and you see the students, I want to give you this assignment. I want you to do this. As you walk into a classroom or as you walk the halls or as you enter a cafeteria or as the students arrive on campus, whatever it is, when you're seeing students, don't just greet them. I want you to do this. I've never said this in my life. This is the first time these words have ever come out of my mouth in my entire life, right? 60 years old. I want you to do this. Look at the youngster and say to yourself, does my leadership benefit that youngster, right? And I want you to do this individually, right? Like make it a habit. And again, I've never articulated this, so I've never really processed it, obviously, to say it the way, because I may say this next week and say it differently because I haven't had the time to think this through and process it the way I want it to sound because it's so new for me. I've never said that, but I wish I had a thought of this when I was a principal, to literally walk the halls between classes or go into classes and just kind of pan the classroom, look and scan my eyes on each youngster and ask myself, is that youngster benefiting from me? No, forget that, not me. Let me say that again. Is that youngster benefiting from my leadership? Me is not me, y'all. Don't use that. Is that youngster benefiting from my leadership? Is that youngster benefiting from my leadership? Is that youngster benefiting from my leadership? How about this youngster? Is this youngster benefiting from my leadership? And I want you to just go around, and it's just in your head, and you're just asking yourself, what is the correlation between this youngster's existence in my school and my leadership? Right? Just ask yourself that question. And it's amazing. This is just a sidebar. It's amazing how I put so much energy into these notes. And right now, I'm not even in them. It's like as soon as this camera comes on, guy says to me, I got you, man. Throw them notes in the garbage. You don't even need them. Right? It's like, so here once again, that's the students. Now let's stay there for a minute. Now let's look at the teachers. And now you're walking around the building. You're visiting classrooms. You see them outside. You see them in the parking lot, whatever the case may be. And you're asking the question, is this teacher benefiting from my leadership? How about this teacher? How about this teacher? Let me get up in the camera. How about this teacher? See, are the teachers benefiting from my leadership? Like, I know I'm here, I know they're there, and I know I'm doing my job, but that's not the question that I'm asking. I'm not asking, are you doing your job, quote unquote? I'm asking if within your job, are the teachers benefiting from your leadership? But let's go beyond the teacher now. Let's look at the entire staff. Are these security officers, if you have security, I'm an urban guy, you know how that works. Are these security officers benefiting from my leadership? Are these custodians benefiting from my leadership? Is the nurse, is the secretary, is the child study team, right? Is the librarian, and I can keep going. Are they benefiting from my leadership? Because see, again, the topic, ineffective leadership, doesn't benefit anyone. So imagine you walk through that school and you figuratively had this with you, or maybe you had it tucked in your pocket, right? You say, I want to really have the mirror with me. Let me get one of them little pocket joints that Kafele talks about on Saturday. Someone said, he said joints. Yeah, man, I ain't trying to be formal on this thing, right? So now, and you walking around the school doing what I said. Guess what? Imagine you're being brutally honest with yourself. And as you ask that question, you're saying, I don't know. This one, I don't think so. Because I don't engage with this youngster directly, and I'm never in this youngster's classroom. And I don't engage with his teacher outside of good morning and goodbye, and during evaluation season when I got to go in there and get that observation done. So if there's 180 days in the year and I visit this classroom twice, then and I'm not speaking directly to this youngster, and maybe I'm making a broad morning announcement, morning message, but I don't have eye contact with him when I'm saying it, then you know something? This is you now. I'm not speaking for me. I'm speaking for you. You know something? That youngster is not benefiting from my leadership. And ouch, like, man, Kafele talked about that Saturday. And I went to the building and did that. And there's a large percentage of young people in my building who are not benefiting from me, but I never thought about it that way. Man, see? You got to look at it that way. Now look, I'm not trying to be like, man, Kafele, you profound with this, because I'm keeping it honest with you, because I could have come on here and said to you, I used to do this every day. No, I've never done this. I never even thought of this. I never conceptualized this until I started writing these notes. So I'm being honest. And that's the best kind of people you want to know, honest people, right? Somebody can come on the podcast and BS you, right? Like they talking about, do this, I did this. Man, you ain't do nothing. See, I'd rather keep it real, right? So it just make me want to go back and be a principal somewhere so I could try this out, right? So again, ineffective leadership doesn't benefit anybody. So moving on, Man, it's like I ain't even get to the questions yet, right? Moving on, I got these non-negotiables. I've had them for a long time, and I use them. These I call them my principal Kafele non-negotiables of school leadership, right? And today I'm kind of focused on one of them, and this one it reads like this: the correlation between your leadership effectiveness and the success or failure of your school, right? So let me read that to you again. The correlation between your leadership effectiveness and the success or failure of your school. In other words, I'm saying this non-negotiable is stating that there's a correlation between your leadership effectiveness as a leader of your school, one of the leaders or the leader, and whether or not your school is successful or not. I'm saying that's non-negotiable. It is, right? I'm saying that your school goes as your leadership goes. That's the point that I'm making. So using question number 1, page 3 from this book. That's why I'm saying if you don't have this, get your hands on it. I'm saying here, question 1, and this is not my questions now. It's my question from the book, but it's not my question for the academy. Question 1 reads, how will I reconcile the reality of the correlation between my leadership effectiveness and the success or failure of my school? So I'm saying here, leadership is everything. I need to say that again. Leadership is everything. I tell people all the time, I've said it to you before, and I'm even going to say it again in a little while. Don't tell me something about great teachers in a building with ineffective leadership and try to convince me that school is still going to be high performing, right? Don't even try to sell that on me. It may perform at a higher level than, say, a school that's really struggling, but it will not be performing at its apex, right? That's not going to be happening. It's not going to be performing at an optimal level. That's not going to be happening. So to kind of support that, I said to myself when I was putting these notes, I said, I want to read this paragraph to you. This will probably be the longest passage I've ever read on this broadcast, but let me read this because it's so significant. It says, for the past 20 years, I have repeatedly stated that leadership is everything. Whether it be business leadership, government leadership, organizational leadership, sports leadership, or school leadership. Show me a school full of phenomenal teachers in every classroom and an ineffective principal, and I'll show you an underperforming school every time. While the school may be considered high performing, because of the performance level of the teaching staff, it is not performing optimally because its leader is ineffective. On the other hand, show me a school full of young, fresh out of college, brand new and inexperienced teachers with a seasoned, effective leader, and I'll show you a school with a wealth of potential. I say this emphatically because this effective principal understands that his role or her role includes ensuring that these new teachers receive all the support, guidance, and direction and leadership required for their future success. It is leadership that leads the effort toward making this happen. Man, that's a lot there. You want more? Then get the Aspiring Principal 50. Got to get your hands on it. The Aspiring Principal 50. So with that said, let's get heavy. I'm saying here, as I read, show me a school with phenomenal teachers, right? Just show me that school. It's got phenomenal teachers, but it's got a leader that's got to grow. It's got a leader that's ineffective. It's got a leader that perhaps holds promise, but there's a whole lot of growing that has to occur. Or it's got a leader that this is just not the right fit. Either not the right fit in terms of the school, that I would be better in a different school, or not the fit, meaning the profession, right? Or at least the assignment, that leadership is just not for you. Because I told you last week, leadership is not for everybody. body. Just because you can go to the university of so-and-so, including the Ivy League school, and get your degree and your certification in education administration, that does not translate into you being an effective leader. It just means that you test well, right? You do projects well. You do research well, right? But that doesn't translate into leading well. Because quite frankly, you know this as well as I do. There are people who can lead at a high level that never went to the master's program. Now, I would never encourage that. You know, I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday about that. I would never encourage that. I would discourage it. In fact, if someone came and asked me my opinion about it, and many people do, like, Kafele, what's your opinion if I can get the principalship and bypass graduate school in administration? I would say I won't respect you. And that's just where I am. I can't respect that because you don't have the content knowledge, right? I want you to have that. It's like the one that says to me, how do you feel about me bypassing teaching and become a principal? Say, I'm not going to be happy. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not going to be rooting for you in that regard, right? I need you to learn that classroom. Because when we talk about the effectiveness, right? The effectiveness of a leader. How do you really reach those heights of effectiveness as a leader in a school where instruction is at the core of the existence of the school and you know nothing about that? Did you hear me? See, you want to lead, and you want to lead at a high level, but at the core of the school's existence is instruction and learning. And that's the part that you don't know. You don't know that. And you can't pick that up in a book. You learn the classroom by being in the classroom. And I don't mean watching people teach. I mean by teaching and seeing with your own eyes, your own ears, your own emotions, that children in a classroom learn very differently from one another. And now you've got to be this magician, and you've got to figure out, how do I take children, 25 of them, 30 in some cases and more in certain places, and how do I take these children with the limited time that I have? It might be a period of 40 minutes, even at the elementary level. How do I take 25 children in a 40-minute time frame and ensure that they're all learning according to how they learn in an equitable learning environment? Man, so now I decide I want to lead a school. And I've never done that. Do you hear me? I feel myself getting emotional on this topic, right? So now I've never done this before. I don't know what it is to take a diverse class racially, ethnically, and then diverse in terms of socioeconomics, living environment, experiential background, and motivation and inspiration, all that. And now how do I go in there and connect with all of them? And now I want to be a principal, but I never experienced that. But I'm going to go to a teacher and say, but I'm holding you accountable for it, right? I mean, I want you to hear how crazy that sounds. So I'm going to be a principal, and I'm going to hold you accountable for doing these things that Principal Kafele just articulated, but I don't know what it is. And then the teacher says, teach me this, like essentially saying that, because teacher may not word it that way, but teacher says, show me what you mean. Like what do you mean? And like the principal essentially may as well turn into Ralph. What's the one? Yeah, Ralph Cram. Like you might as well do that because you don't know. So you're going to do like, hey, we're going to go Parliament Funkadelic on this one, Boosie Collins. So you're going to fake the funk. Now, I know some of y'all out there, you don't know what I just said, but don't worry about it. You're going to fake the funk. You're going to pretend you understand this. But in all actuality, you don't understand it. You don't know. So that's why. So now what's the translation? You have the potential of being an ineffective leader because you are not in position to help that teacher to grow because you don't know that world. You don't know that world. I remember quite a few years ago, it was I was speaking at this conference, and the son of a basketball player back when I was growing up he's a teacher. He was in the room, and apparently he got excited by my message. So his father's name was Campy Russell. He played for the Cleveland Cavaliers back in the day. I see Stallings on here, so you know who I'm talking about. Stallings, Campy Russell. So now, so the kid comes up to me and he says, Kafele, my father's Campy Russell, but he works with the Cleveland Cavaliers still, even though he retired many years ago. So LeBron James was playing for Cleveland at the time. So now he said, I want you to come to Cleveland and speak to the Cavs in their locker room. Right. So I said, you have that kind of connection? He said, yeah. No, I can get you in there. I want you to come and speak to, because the team was losing at the time. LeBron had just gotten back from Miami. They were losing. He said, I want you to come and speak in the locker room to the team. Right. And I was excited. Right? I told my wife. And then after the dust cleared, I said, I'm not doing that. It's like he gave me his number, told me to call him to set it up. I said, I'm not doing that because I don't know anything about that. I know NBA basketball as a fan sitting on the couch or in the arena. I said, what I look like going in the locker room and telling these dudes how to win? That's not my lane. Right. So I didn't make the call. Now someone else might have said, you blew that opportunity to be in the locker room with LeBron James and all them guys. If you want to call it that. Yeah, I blew it. I said, that's not my lane. I'm not going to be effective. If you give me a room full of principals, assistant principals, teachers, yeah, I can go in there and blow the roof off. But this is an NBA team. And they're going to look at me. They're going to know what you know about our life, what you know about our journey, what you know about our travels, our trials and tribulations. What if they ask me that? I'd be like, humming, like Ralph Cramden, humming. I don't know. Right? So I'm sharing this with you to say, as principal, it's the same thing. You got to know that space if you're going to be effective. So here I said, show me a school with phenomenal teachers and ineffective leader. I've seen it. I see it. I said, I've seen it and I see it. It's out there. Right? But also here's where it gets really interesting. I meet teachers who experience. Because see, once your audience is connected with you, and they feeling your message and they feeling you and all that, they gonna open up to you. So like when we give them breaks, like, all right, let's take 15, bathroom break, whatever it is, lunch hour, whatever it is, then they rolling right up on me. There's a lot of slang today, y'all. They coming right to me, right? Principal Kafele, I agree with everything you said this morning. But we will never be able to implement this in our school because our leadership's not on board or our leadership is ineffective, whatever it is. Now, that doesn't mean that they're correct. I get that too, because I'm sure there have been teachers that went out here complaining about me, right? I'm sure of that. But I'm saying to you, the perception is there and perception matters, right? Perception matters because it dictates how you internalize whatever the stimuli may be. So it matters. So let's keep moving. So I'm also saying, show me a school with a brand new, inexperienced teachers and an effective leader. Man, real quick, this leader understands what the teachers need. They understand. They know what the teachers need. right? Because we're talking about somebody effective. So they know what the teacher needs. So therefore they understand the support that the teacher requires. Just the support. You know, you figure you got a new teacher, inexperienced, first time. Like last week I was working with a group. They're just graduating from the University of North Carolina, right? So I was working with them the other day. And now they're going into the classroom for the first time. And I reminded them, student teaching, and when you walk into that classroom and your name is on that door, that's a different world from student teaching. It's a completely different world. But that leader has to understand that you got some babies walking in here. And I'm not talking about the children now. I'm talking about the new teacher. And you have to be able to provide that support. And that support that you're required may be annoying for you. It may be burdensome for you. It may just add to what's already on your plate. But that effective leader understands that, and I'm going to provide whatever support they need. That's got to be the mindset. That's got to be the mentality. But that effective leader understands the guidance that they need. They're in a new world. There may be a bunch of seasoned teachers in there. Now, part of that guidance is pairing them with those seasoned teachers, and particularly that one mentor that's going to be that effective mentor, as opposed to that one person that's going to undermine the entire effort, because we know that they're in buildings as well. So now you got you and the other folks that you surround this person with to provide guidance, structure, so that this person understands how to maneuver in this new environment that this teacher finds him or herself in. This leader understands that the teacher needs direction. It's a new world. This could be a teacher. This may be the first job. I don't mean the first teaching assignment. I mean the first job. We're talking about somebody 22 years old, fresh out of college. And maybe they grew up in a situation where they just never worked. And now the first time I've got a boss, first time I got a supervisor, first time working. I mean, sometimes we lose sight of this. But folks watching this morning and who will watch the video later on, remember, you could be hiring people who have never worked in their entire lives. And now they're in a building. It's a new world. Like, I don't know how to function with a boss. I'm used to my mother and father. Right now you're in this environment where there's certain expectations. You arrive to work 2 seconds late and you think that's okay. You know, my old assistant principal could tell you that, because I was that person. I thought just because I walked in 2 seconds late, I didn't know it was a problem. Right? So every day I'm 2 seconds here, 3 seconds there, a minute there. It's my first year teaching. I just didn't know it was an issue because homeroom hadn't started. All right, so she would give me one of them gentle reminders. Kafele is got to be here by 8:15, you know what? So, okay, I got you. Next day I'm in at 8:20, you know, and because nothing started. So then finally I get this little memorandum, like, okay, like, and I still, because remember, y'all know my background. I still don't know that that's an issue. I don't realize this is like going in a personnel file, right? I don't get that yet. Right. So I needed someone that could like pull me to the side, like, yo, you in the real world now, the world of work. Right. And you have to be here on time. Right. And on time is to be early. Right. I needed that. So I'm saying you may have somebody in your building that needs that kind of guidance, that kind of direction, because they may not understand. They may not be able to fathom that. Right. And so we're upset that the person's late or whatever, something that's easily rectifiable, but we didn't consider this person may genuinely not understand. And how can I say that so definitively? Because I was that guy. Next thing I knew, in that first year, she finally pulled me in her office. She said, Kafele, do you realize you've been late 40 times? I shouldn't even be telling y'all this. She said, do you realize you've been late 40 times? And I mean, it wasn't even like near the end of the school year. I'm still new. And I'm like, yeah, but in my mind, I'm like, but it's only like a few seconds. So finally, when she wrote that hardcore memorandum, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. And then that was no longer an issue. But I'm sharing this. I'm being transparent with you, because you have to realize that these folks could be in your building and if you're not able to check it and correct it, then it just weighs on your leadership in terms of when we talk about your ineffectiveness as a leader. Let's keep it moving. So this leader understands just the overall leadership that is required of your staff. So with that said, man, it's 20 up, but I'm going quick on these. I got like 9 questions, but it's a quick run. So we're gonna be done by 12. Right? Don't hold me to it, but I think we're gonna be done by 12. Here we go. Number 1. To what extent is there a correlation between my leadership and the current state of my school academically? I'm going to slow down on that one because I just dropped the bomb on you. To what extent is there a correlation between my leadership and the current state of my school academically? Once again, that's when you hold up the mirror and you're having that honest conversation with yourself. And you're asking yourself, is there a correlation here between what I do and our results? See, and again, I'm not talking about you, the individual, you, the person. I'm talking about your leadership. What's the correlation between, just think about who you are throughout the course of a given day, whether it be virtually, whether it be hybrid, whether it be in person. Just think about who you are. Think about how you move throughout the day. Is there a correlation between how you move throughout the day and the academic success of that school? What is that correlation? To what extent is there a correlation between how you go about your day and the academic progress of children? But then number 2, as I told you, I'm moving quick. It says, to what extent is there a correlation between my leadership and the current state of my school culturally? Once again, to what extent is there a correlation between my leadership and the current state of my school culturally, right? So just think about the culture of the building. Think about just, and when I say the culture of the building, I'm talking about the totality now. Just everything about your school, from the way folks enter the building and everything in between, from the way folks enter the building to the way folks exit the building and everything in between throughout the course of a day, right? I'm asking you, to what extent is there a correlation between your leadership and the culture of that building? See, because let's say that culturally speaking, the culture of the building, that there are flaws all over the place. There are imperfections all over the place. There are deficiencies all over the place. Procedural deficiencies, programmatic deficiencies, policy deficiencies, expectation deficiencies, behavior deficiencies, interaction, staff to student interaction deficiencies, interaction between administration and students or administration and staff deficiencies, interaction between administration and parents or teachers and parents or school to community deficiencies, right? So you're all of this going on. Well, I'm asking you, what's the correlation between all of that and your leadership? If you've detected these flaws, have you taken the position, well, they need to get their acts together. They need to change. They need to fix themselves. Or is there a introspection of, wait a minute, I need to look at me? Because I said it before, leadership is everything. So if there's something about your leadership that is not effectuating the kind of change that we want to see culturally, so that the school can lead itself without you being, as someone taught me early in my principal days, traffic cop, right? Because see, culture should be able to lead the school. Like you've heard me say this before. Anytime I'm in a school as a consultant on a school day when school is in session, as opposed to a PD day where it's just me and staff, then every time in my mind, and I share it with the principal, I said, I want to be able to see the leadership. Write this one down or type it out. Put it in your office. I want to be able to see the leadership without seeing the leader. I think I even said that one last week. I want to be able to see the leadership without seeing the leader. So, leader, you could be home somewhere. You could be at a conference. No, we don't want you home unless you're sick, right? You could be at a conference. You could be at the administrators forum or administrators meeting, right? Or you could be doing a district walkthrough somewhere else. So whatever this thing is that prevents you from being in the building, then that's the time I want to come into your school. I want to see the leadership with you being like, let's say your school is here in Jersey, but you went to this big conference in Las Vegas, right? So you're going to be spending a week at this conference in Vegas. They ought to be bringing me to keynote the conference, actually, but that's for another time, right? So now you going to Vegas. I'm at your school. I want to see you. You didn't hear me. I want to see you while you're in Vegas, right? Matter of fact, with the time difference, I'm in your school at say 8 o'clock. Well, theoretically, you getting your last hour of sleep. It's 5, right? So it's 5 o'clock a.m. I want to walk in your school while you are asleep in your hotel room in Vegas and see your leadership while you in Vegas 4,000 miles away. That's what I mean. See, that's so as I see it, because see, I want to see effective leadership. Because see, I could if you're ineffective, then that's what you're leaving behind. So I'm going to see your ineffectiveness while you're asleep at Vegas, going to that conference, with the hope of developing your skills for when you come back. But in the interim, in real time, I'm in your school. What is it that I'm seeing? I want to see the effectiveness in your classrooms, in your hallway, student arrival, student dismissal, and all the other things that we talked about, right? I want to be able to see the leadership without seeing the leader. Let me go on. Number 3, as a school leader, am I comfortable with the reality that my leadership will be the primary determinant of the success or failure of my school? Let me read that again. As a school leader, am I comfortable with the reality that my leadership will be the primary determinant of the success or failure of my school? Now, there's a lot I could say about that, but I'm gonna keep it short because I want to end this close to on time as I can, right? So here's what I'm saying. Your leadership, like there's this, those of you that know my work, like my in-person work, matter of fact, my keynote work, then you would know that I have a signature closing. I close the same way everywhere I go, right? And it goes like this. I have the audience first. I yell to the audience the following quote that I created many years ago. And I'm not going to yell it the way I do right now because I'll lose my voice. That's why I save it for the closing, right? I am the number one determinant of the success or failure of my students, right? So just imagine when you hear me say I'm on fire, just multiply that by 10, and that's the way I bring that, right? And then I'll say to the audience, now repeat it with me, or no, after me. And I say, I am, with everything I got, the number one determinant of the success or failure. Then I go like this, of my students, right? I haven't done that in a year because, we ain't been out here keynoting, right? And when I say that, and a lot of time my audience is leaders, right? And I'm saying that to say this. I say leaders. Now, you heard me say it before I had them repeat it. I say, if you don't feel that, here's what I want you to do. Don't repeat this. Just watch us. And then you figure out when you get your downtime why you couldn't repeat it. Because see, I'm saying here, leader, you are the number one determinant of the success or failure of those students while they're in school. Because I'm not going to take away any of the power from the parents when they're home. But while they're in that school, it's you. But I don't mean you, the individual. I mean your leadership. I keep adding that SHIP, ship. Your leadership matters. So I'm saying, therefore, you are the number one determinant. It's like I told you last week, I'm going to repeat myself now. When I meet that leader that says to me, Kafele, I can't agree with that because of my staff, the morale, the energy, the camaraderie, the going the extra mile, the rolling up the sleeves. I can't take that credit. I say, principal, I hear you. I get it. But principal, do this for me. Walk with me on this imaginary journey. Let's take your staff and airlift them and place them in a school with a leader that's the antithesis of your leadership. So now this leader, this standoffish, this detached, this unapproachable, this grumpy, this intimidating, all that kind of stuff. Are you telling me that that same energy of your staff will be over in that new environment? And then the principal always go like this 100% of the time. Oh, okay, Kafele, I got you now. I say, yeah, I know you got me. Your leadership matters. The reason that that energy is in your school, right? The reason that your staff is so excited and pumped about coming to work every day is because of the leadership that you provide. That's why. Because if you were bringing a different kind of leadership that was the antithesis of the leadership that they have grown accustomed to, they're not bringing that kind of energy. They in the warn ads, man. They trying to get away from you. You are a source of their stress. Don't ever forget that, right? Let me keep going. I'm almost done, y'all. Number 4, I'm gonna go through these quickly. Are my students strong enough? Not students. I messed that one up. Are my shoulders strong enough and broad enough to carry such a tremendous burden? Right? If you want to use the word burden, some of you may not. Some of you may say, I don't. It's not a burden for me, and that's fine. Are my shoulders strong enough? Are they broad enough to carry such a tremendous burden? Or I might say such tremendous weight, right? So based on everything I just said to you, do you have the stamina? Do you have the endurance? Do you have the strength to carry that? That's what I'm asking you. And you got to consider that, particularly the volume of you who are not principals, because that's what's going to be on your shoulder, right? Well, do you have the stamina? Do you have the endurance, the strength, right? And I might add the audacity, because that's going to be on you. Your name is the one on the side of the building. You got the name of the front of the building. You got your name, the school name, and then there's your name invisible that everybody sees. Let's keep moving. Number 5. Told you I'm doing it quick. The bulk of what I had to say was before this. I'm going to just run through these. Number 5, as the leader of my school, do I realize that I am simultaneously the face of my school? Yeah. The face of your school. Those of you who are football fans, when you think of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who do you think of? And if that one is too recent, then let me go to again, football fans. When you used to think of the New England Patriots in terms of the players on the field, who do you think of? When you think of the Los Angeles Lakers today, who do you think of? Right? See, there are certain athletes on a team and they become the face of the team. So I'm saying to you, it works the same way with school. When you assume that title of principal, when you assume that title of school leader, you become the face of that school. You become the face of that building. I didn't drop the names. That was Tom Brady with my guy Vincent just reminded me. That's Dr. Stallings. You think you're gonna think Tom Brady creaks on the car. I didn't see you, sir. See, you're gonna think he's the face of the team. It doesn't mean they're not other good players. But we talking about a guy. Well, how many you got? 6, 7 rings now, something like that. I forget. There's so many of them. So you think about these particular standout people because they lead. They're not the coach, but they lead on the field, on the court, on the diamond, on the ice. So the coach is on the sidelines now. So during the game, they're the one that's out there leading. And I got to thank my man Creek because he said LeBron, but he wrote Kobe. Yeah, you can't ignore Kobe, right? You can't ignore him. So now here's the thing. You're the face of that school. You are. And I'm simply asking the question, do you realize it? As a leader, do I realize that simultaneously I'm the face of the school? And can your shoulders withstand it? Because that's what you are. I mean, you can't, when you decide you want to be a principal and the principal's watching it right now, you know that, or the superintendents who were principals, you know that. Principalship, you carrying a heavy burden. You carrying a heavy responsibility. This is not lightweight work and it's not for everybody. Just because you were superstar in the classroom don't mean you're going to be superstar leading the school. Because it's an altogether different ball game now. Number 6, as the leader of my school, do I realize that I am the spine of my school? Woo! You the backbone. You're the spine of your school. And if that school, and if your spine starts bending, if your back starts breaking, I want you to hear me on this one, man. I can't tell you over the weeks, including today, the number of things that I say to you guys that I did not write in these notes. It's like once that camera light comes on that camera I got here, it's like, guys said, I got you, man. You mean you want to use the notes, use them, but I got you. Right? Because I ain't think about this stuff when I was writing it, right? But here we go. If your back starts breaking, the whole school gonna break. Y'all didn't hear me. If your back starts breaking and you can't carry the weight, I want you to think about real quick, those of you who have ever weightlifted or those of you who know anything about weightlifting, there's an exercise called the squat. Now, I'm going to go old school on this squat. Like now they got machines, but old school, you take a barbell and it's placed on your shoulder and you hold it the way I'm doing right now. Now, the exercise is not for your back. The exercise is for your legs, your upper legs. But your back got to be strong because as your legs are getting strong, you've got to increase the weight if you want to continue to strengthen them. So you're increasing the weight. So you got like 200 pounds, 300 pounds on your back. Now, if your back gives, given that the exercise is not a back development exercise, it's a leg exercise. But if your back gives, then you can't work your legs in terms of the squats. There's other machines you can use to do other kinds of exercises, but the most potent exercise for your legs is the squat. I don't care what anybody tells you. You tell them I say, if they tell you otherwise, you tell them, call me. No, don't call me. Send me an email. The squat is the exercise for your upper legs, right? But your back got to be able to support that, even though it's not a back exercise. And if your back can't endure that weight on your shoulder, then your legs are going to suffer. Now, what's the correlation? If your back can't endure the pressure of being a leader of a school, your school will suffer. Y'all see that? Man, it's like, why not come up with that when I was writing my notes, right? Like how's this coming to me live, right? So, but that's just, I know where I get my stuff from, y'all, right? So now listen, I'm saying your back got to be strong. Your spine has got to be strong. See, your back, because you are the backbone of your school. It's 12 o'clock. I'm getting ready to close this, y'all. Let me go through this quickly. One of them I'm gonna skip. So I only have two more. Number 6. As the leader of my school, I did number 6. So now I'm really almost over. Number 7, I'm gonna skip till next week. So number 8. Do I realize that at no point in my school year, ever, no, do I realize that at no point is my school ever about me? See, after all I've been saying about leadership for 53 weeks, and when I say 53, keep in mind, this is the anniversary. Last week made a complete year, 52 weeks. But I started this the first Saturday in May. This is the anniversary of this academy. So I just wanted to throw that in there. So over these 53 weeks, we've been talking about leadership. But here's the thing. Do I realize that at no point is my school ever about me? There's the contradiction. It ain't about you. It ain't about me. It ain't about us. It's about the people that we serve. It's about the people that we lead. We call that servant leadership. And you can never lose sight of that. As proficient as you become as a leader, your school is always about your customers, right? It's about your customers. Everybody you serve, that's who it's about. But when it starts becoming about you, it's time for you to go to the mirror to assess you as leader and why you lead. So just, you got to check yourself. When you're walking through that school and you got your chest out, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having your chest out and your shoulders back, because there's nothing wrong with feeling good about yourself. Nothing at all. But what I'm saying to you is when that ego starts, your head starts blowing up, and now your shoulders are back and your chest is out and your head is up, not because of just you feel good about you, but because you feel like it's about you. Now you need your mirror. Now you need to go back to this video. You just go back to video number 53 and bring yourself down, right? Because it can never be about you. Because it ain't about you. But it's about the youngsters. So therefore, and the staff, and therefore it requires you to be the best version of yourself. It requires you to search inside for your greatness. But it ain't about you. It requires you. Know the difference. It ain't about you, but it requires you, right? You got to know that. You got to make that distinction. So now let's keep it moving. I'm done. Last question. Is it clear? Matter of fact, I tell you what, I'm going to do. Now, let me read it. Is it clear and evident? This is number 8. That there is not only structure in my school, but there is student and staff buy-in of the structure as well. Once again, is it clear and evident that there is not only structure in my school, but there is student and staff buy-in of the structure? Now, I got all these notes here to support that. I'm not going to cover that now. I'm going to do that next week. But I will say this. When we talk about the buy-in, that's everything we've been talking about for the past hour, right? See, I can't buy into somebody that I don't believe in. Hear me. I cannot buy into somebody that I don't believe in. I can't buy into somebody that I don't respect. I can't buy into someone that I can't relate to. I can't buy into someone who doesn't respect me. I can't buy into someone who doesn't support me. I can't buy into someone who doesn't provide me with structure and guidance. I can't buy into someone who's ego tripping, right? I can't buy into someone who is all about them. I can't buy in to someone who's a fake, phony, and fraud, right? I can't buy into all that. See, if they're gonna buy into you, you got to bring your best authentic self. I think that and this is not me patting myself on the back, but I'm just going to put it out there. I think you guys see my own authenticity, right? See, people ask me all the time, man, come on, Kafele, man, you all this free stuff, all this, yeah, man, because I'm about these people, man. I'm about this business. I'm about education, right? So this is what I do, and I think my own authenticity comes out, so people continue to support. But on the other hand, imagine somebody up here and you start detecting some things, right? And like, man, come on, right? So see, I'm saying to you, well, it's the same thing in your building. What are they seeing when they see you? Because they can't buy into your program. They can't buy into your purpose. They can't buy into your mission. They can't buy into your vision if they can't buy into you. So you got to ask yourself, and if anybody's having a hard time just making that connection, let me give it to you a different way. You go outside to the store somewhere and you go and buy something, right? Like let's make it a big ticket item, a car. Go out and buy a car today, right? Or look for a car. But the salesman is clearly like some shyster type, right? Like he just trying to swindle you some kind of way, right? So like the car, the salesperson has positioned himself where clearly this ain't about nothing but a commission. Well, it's going to be hard for you to buy into this person and subsequently buy into that car or buy that car. But imagine now you go down the street to a different dealership and this person has you feeling like you're important. This person has you feeling like you matter. And now you can get into dialoguing with this person. Right? Because I when I think about it, and then this is me again in real times, I haven't thought this through, but I'm thinking about people who sell right now, and they're probably selling with a mask on, right? Because of the pandemic. You know something? The folks out there who sell, who are typically like, shysters, fraudulent, that type of thing, it's a hustle. They can probably hide behind the mask. And you may not realize what's happening underneath the mask because all you see is their eyes, but you don't really see the totality of what's going on. Because see, when I'm interacting with people, in today's times, or just see people, I'm always saying to myself, man, I never, someone I never seen before. I see their eyes. I have no idea what this person looks like. I don't know what they're about because I can't see their face. Right? If they're angry, I don't see it. Because a lot of times with your eyes, without seeing the rest of your face, you just can't detect it all, right? So I'm saying all that to say this. I'll go over the indicators that I wrote below next week, but I just want to leave you with this. They're not going to buy into you if you haven't positioned yourself for them to buy into you, which will ultimately, going back to the title of this presentation, render you ineffective, right? Let me close, y'all, before you leave. Give me like 2 minutes. Let me close it out. Parting question. What will you do to ensure that every student I'm using a lot of words that I want to tie it into what I said earlier, but you'll be able to summarize it. What will you do to ensure that every student in the building is benefiting from your leadership? Remember when I talked about earlier, those of you who checked in late and watched the video on YouTube, or just watch it on whatever platform you're watching. And we talked about looking at each student and asking yourself, is this student benefiting from my leadership? Right? Well, ask yourself, what will I do to increase the volume ultimately where every student is benefiting from my presence in this building? Right? Next week, we're going to continue with chapter 6 in the Aspiring Principal 50. So if you don't have it, please get it. And if you don't have the Assistant Principal 50, please get it. And then you can pre-order right now the Equity and Social Justice Education 50. It's subtitled Critical Questions for Improving Opportunities and Outcomes for Black Students. for the first time in several books, because I do have books that I wrote specifically for teachers of Black students, but I hadn't done that in a while. I was just writing for everybody. But I said, now in this landscape, I got to go back to my roots. This book is written for educators of Black students, the Equity and Social Justice 50. So that should mean a whole lot of y'all, right? Not just teachers, but superintendent, board members, all the way to the paraprofessional, right? So you can pre-order it now on Amazon or ASCD. Go ahead and get it out the way, because I'm anticipating a rush for this book when it's released. So you want to get it before it sells out. Visit my Facebook page, Virtual AP Leadership Academy, my YouTube channel, Virtual Assistant AP Leadership Academy, and make sure that you like and follow. COVID precautions. I don't care if all these governors are opening up all these states. You know, we see it, back to normal. Virus is raging. You see what's going on in India. I mean, they got these makeshift crematories, right? So, I mean, the virus is just raging, but everybody's opening up everything and people are being careless. So let them be. You don't have to follow that. Continue to take precaution, right? And then diet and exercise. I got to share this with you. I didn't realize this until I got to the gym this morning. I went to the gym this morning at 7 o'clock. And when I got there, I said, oh, it's May 1st. Oh, I didn't even think about this leading up. Today, my wife just said, she did. Today is the 6th anniversary of my heart attack, right? I had it on May 1st, 2000 and was that 15? Can't do the math, right? May 1st, I was going to say 1915, right? 2015, May 1st, at the University of Miami, on the stage doing a keynote address, and bam, my main artery clogged 100% with the crap I had been eating all my life, right? Grease and, just all of that stuff. Diabetes type 2 came with it. So it forced me to make a lifestyle shift, which I made, but the pandemic kept me out of the gym. So walking miles around the neighborhood is not the same as being on that treadmill. And getting on that treadmill today for the first time felt real good, right? So, but it's just you wearing a mask while you sweating and carrying on, man. That was a little awkward. That's going to be a little tough to get used to. But I was looking around to see if other people pulled their masks. Maybe I could pull it down a minute since they got social distancing. But everybody had their mask on, so I said, well, I'm going to keep my mask on. But I'm saying that to say this: if you never had a heart attack, then let my example be your example, right? So because mine was preventable. Mine was just, look, stay out of fast food restaurants, stop eating the junk, stop eating all the sweets, stop doing all that kind of stuff. That would have never happened. But that's how I was living. And it culminated into May 1st, 2015, laying down on a stage at the University of Miami while I'm waiting for EMT to come and rush me to the emergency room, right? That's my reality. That's my story. Other than that, folks, appreciate you being here. I'll see you next week, same time. 10:55 Eastern Daylight Time. Tell a friend, tell a colleague, tell them we going hard every Saturday morning. I see you next week. Have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist back. Count to 3 with me. 1, 2, 3. Bam! Appreciate you. See you next Saturday morning.